On the golden savanna of the Pilanesberg Game Reserve in South Africa, a pride of lions share a large kill. In the midst of the tension, an aggressive male lion suddenly rushed in and fiercely attacked a weak young lioness. The lioness was knocked down, the scratch bleeding, making her panic and run away from the pride in the cold dark night. Alone in the middle of the vast grassland, it was both painful and hungry, its eyes looking around filled with restless fatigue. As the night fell, the wind blew fiercely, and the sounds of insects and nocturnal animals made him even more frightened. His stomach growling with hunger, each step becoming heavy, he growled softly to chase away the lurking hyenas. Each wound on its body drained it of strength, its mane drooping, its body emaciated and exhausted. With no support from the herd, it was forced to travel further, hoping to find a safe place to survive. The night was long and dark, the moonlight reflected on it, making it lonely in the vast but dangerous space. Finally, its feet gradually led the way closer to the residential area located close to the edge of the forest on the edge of the reserve. As dawn broke, a tired lioness appeared at the edge of the forest near a roadside town. The small houses were quiet, the people were not awake yet, the quiet scene seemed to hide a potential danger. Wandering along the stone wall, it tried to smell food but all it could smell was old smoke and road dust. The unfamiliar sounds of several passing cars startled it, but hunger still forced it to go further. Its eyes constantly glanced around, every sound causing its survival instinct to rise strongly. The narrow road led it into a residential area, where steel fences surrounded the neat yards of the townspeople's homes. He wandered into the yard of a small gray house, his heavy breathing coming out like a sigh. Instinct urged it to find a way out, it rushed headfirst into the narrow gap in the fence to squeeze through. But its body was so large that it was stuck right in the middle, its neck and shoulders squeezed by the cold, hard iron bars. Panicked, it growled violently, its whole body struggling, causing the wound to tear further and blood to spread. The scream echoed throughout the quiet neighborhood, causing nearby dogs to bark loudly. A peaceful morning suddenly turned into chaos with the fierce roar of the king of the jungle. The homeowner, a middle-aged man named Daniel Okoro, was startled when he stepped out into the yard and saw a horrific scene. For a moment he thought he was seeing things, but then he realized it was indeed a lioness, hopelessly trapped. His heart was pounding, his breath was rapid, his whole body wanted to scream but his legs were frozen with fear. He clearly saw its eyes shining with pain, as if desperately calling for help before the indifferent iron barrier. Its body was shaking, exhausted and covered in dust and dried blood from its belly. Daniel took a step back, trying to stay calm, not doing anything that would make the animal more agitated. He trembled as he picked up the phone, his fingers pressing the number of the forest rangers in a mixture of urgency and anxiety. Daniel's voice came through the phone in a panic. "Please come right away, there's a lion trapped in my yard." Only about half an hour later, the moss green ranger car stopped in front of the gate. Two rangers got out with stern eyes. They are Kenneth Olnashu, a veteran ranger, and his younger colleague Aisha Makona, both experienced. They observed from a distance, noticing that the lioness was almost exhausted, growling weakly, her eyes no longer fierce. Kenneth prepared the tranquilizer gun, adjusting the barrel carefully, aiming at the less dangerous shoulder blade. A soft, poof sound rang out, the anesthetic arrow quickly pierced the lioness's flesh. In a few short minutes, the roar gradually died down, its eyelids grew heavy, its body relaxed into a state of unconsciousness. Aisha quickly approached, checked his breathing and pulse, then signaled that everything was still stable. Kenneth carried a handsaw, sparks flying as the blade hit the cold iron. The sound of metal colliding echoed, making the already tense atmosphere even heavier. Daniel stood outside with his heart aching. Each piece of iron cracked, the narrow gap gradually widened, creating just enough space to pull the animal out. They coordinated skillfully, each movement precise, both careful and urgent so as not to injure it further. Finally, the lioness was freed, her heavy body fell to the ground but her breathing was still steady. As he pulled the lion out, Kenneth immediately bent down to observe the long, bleeding wound running down its belly. Although the bleeding was not too serious, he quickly wiped it with antiseptic gauze to avoid infection. Aisha and Daniel helped place the animal on a special iron stretcher with a sturdy rope. The three of them worked together to lift it into the back of a specialized wildlife rescue truck. The car started and sped towards the Pilanesberg Ranger Station where a field veterinary clinic was waiting. The information was given in advance, causing the veterinary team to urgently prepare all necessary tools and medicines. Tension filled the station, all eyes were on the mighty beast lying motionless. The atmosphere at that moment was heavy, both pitiful and full of determination to save its life at all costs. Chief Veterinarian Dr. Walter Kumalo, wearing gloves, carefully examined each wound on the lioness body. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that the wound was mainly superficial, not affecting internal organs or bones. Immediately, he disinfected the entire abdominal area, then stitched up the deep tears with specialized medical stitches. Next, an amphora was attached to provide water and nutrients to the starving body. Antibiotics and painkillers were injected, easing the muscle tension and rapid breathing. Gradually, the breathing became steady, the chest heaving more steadily, making the whole group sigh in relief. After hours of work, they brought it into a semi-wild enclosure, where it was safe with food and clean water. That afternoon, the lion woke up, his eyes dazed, slowly stood up, and walked a few laps around the cage. A tray of fresh meat was placed in the corner of the cage. At first, it only sniffed hesitantly, then suddenly devoured it in a hurry. Kenneth and Aisha stood outside, smiling at each other, feeling as if they had seen their child just escape the brink of death. "We did the right thing," Aisha whispered, her eyes filled with pride and deep relief. The lion finished eating and walked around the cage, its tail wagging gently, its body recovering its vitality little by little. That night, it lay down to rest in peace, the moonlight illuminating its golden fur. The gentle wind blowing made him fall into a deep sleep, a far cry from the panic of the night before. A life thought lost has been saved, now reviving in temporary safety. The next morning, the conservation board assigned Kenneth and Aisha the task of returning the lion to the wild. A large iron cage is prepared with a strong lock for safety during long transportation. The lion was lightly anesthetized, then skillfully moved into the cage with the help of the whole team. The specialized pickup truck left the station and rolled down the red dirt road deep into the Pilanesberg Reserve. On both sides of the road, green grass and low bushes stretched endlessly, the sky was blue and windy. Kenneth sat in the driver's seat, Aisha looked out the window, her heart filled with indescribable emotions as they were about to part. After many hours of travel, they came to a large, quiet, shady grassland with a water source nearby. The car stopped, both rangers opened the trunk door, the hinges creaking loudly in the quiet space. The cage door was opened, the lion walked out awake, slowly feeling the scent of grass and the wind of freedom. It stopped, turned its head to look at Kenneth and Aisha, its eyes filled with deep, silent gratitude. In that moment, there seemed to be an invisible thread connecting humans and wild animals. Then suddenly, it turned and ran into the open field, its golden fur glistening in the sunlight. Kenneth and Aisha looked on, smiling and waving goodbye, their hearts filled with hope. They just hope it will soon adapt to a solitary but proud life, retaining its strong wild instincts. The story ends, leaving an unforgettable impression of the empathy between humans and wild nature.